Week 14 is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing?
Jack, I'm flying high right now, man. My Steelers are playing some great football, and we got you guys coming in for the revenge game. You know, you embarrassed us in the snow, and I think I'm looking for a little payback. I don't think it's going to be the same at all as it was. I think that high scoring stuff's out the window. I expect our defense to be really ready for you guys this time, and I like a low scoring 27-10 Steelers win. That's what I like this week, and that's what I'm going to be betting on, and that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Well, I wish you luck with that. I see it a little differently, but we'll talk about that when we get to that game.
Well, Jameis has been praying, so if God delivers him from pick sixes, you might have a chance.
That's right. I mean, that was one of the greatest. I was speechless. I wasn't speechless. I laughed out loud.
Me too.
I heard it. I was listening to NFL Daily, which is a great podcast. Greg Rosenthal.
Yep.
Really fun. And that's when he did he does a recap show, and his recap show is amazing because, he does every game.
Sure.
But he puts clips in, radio clips from the call from every single NFL game.
That's fantastic.
From a
local I love that
perspective. So you get all the local flavor.
Yeah.
But then he does a great, it's not like us. I mean, the guy's got a producer. So he grabs all the good sound bites from the post-game press conferences.
So great. It's like when you have.
I was driving and I heard Jameis say, "I just hope God can deliver me from pick sixes," and I just exploded in laughter.
He's a national treasure. I love him.
God, they wanted to flex the. Everybody was complaining that they should have flexed the Browns out of that Monday night position because of how bad we are. But my God,
fun game.
We played on TV, which was the Thursday game against you, and now that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're if nothing else, we're entertaining.
No question. I mean, Jerry Jeudy also rewriting the record books for the Browns, right? That's the most receiving yards in a game ever. And if it wasn't for the 2 pick sixes, they certainly would have had a chance to win. I mean, they certainly would have covered that last pick six. I mean, if you had money on Denver, man, were you lucky to win that game?
Big time.
Big time lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I heard some good takes about that this week. Like, if you had Denver in that game,
yeah,
you should make a note of it. And you should make a note of all of those. Like when you were supposed to lose.
Yeah.
And you won. Because we all have bad beats. They happen all the time. But you have to sort of remember that it all sort of balances out.
That sometimes you're on the other side of it and you get lucky winning one. So that's actually true.
I mean, if you had Denver, now let me tell you a story. So I've been on fire with my home run parlays that I've been, throwing in.
Oh, killing it.
So I hit a 5-team college football parlay on Saturday night that had all favorites. Okay.
Wow.
That had BYU in it, which I hedged at halftime. But the reason I won the parlay, the Florida Gators were playing Florida State, and there was the 2-minute warning had happened. Okay. So they come out of the 2-minute warning, and they were just really trying to run the clock down. And I was laying 16.5 and they were up by 13. So they were supposed to run the clock out and at best kick a field goal. And I would have gotten screwed and lost.
And you lose by half. Yeah.
And so they run it for a sec, make them use their timeouts on 3rd down. Instead of handing the ball off and running another 37 seconds off the clock.
No, they did not throw it.
Field goal. Florida dropped back to pass.
No.
And threw a touchdown.
I
mean, I was in disbelief. And that's how I covered. And that sealed up the 3:30 action. And then all I basically needed was BYU. But I could not believe they did that. They scored a touchdown. Gave Florida State the ball back. Florida State's driving. Florida got an interception late.
That's craziness.
I mean, who does that?
I think the college games are different because I think the margin of victory is calculated in all that stuff. So there's really no running up the score in college. Like in the pros, that would be kind of like you'd throw it maybe because they have the box stacked and you're trying to get a first down. But in the pros, that guy probably just slides down and ends the game. In college, they don't care. They want to score as many points as they can at all times.
No, this in any situation, they should have handed the ball off, run off another 30 seconds.
Sure.
and then either gone for it or kicked
Yeah.
the field goal. But to
Dude, you
throw
crushed
it,
it. Listen, you had a great weekend. You hit 2 5-team parlays in one weekend. It's almost unheard of. So good for
well, the
you.
second one, that was a 16 parlay.
Yeah.
And this one, the NFL one, I hit everything in that, and then it had Cleveland in it.
Yeah, and you hedged it with Denver.
I was
Right.
able to hedge in the middle of the game.
Well,
But
let's try and hit one tonight. Let's go 5-0 this week.
I know.
Let's
All right,
go.
let's jump into the card. We got first game tonight. Fantastic game.
What a game.
Detroit is laying 3.5. You want to go first?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, these are two of the strongest teams in the NFC. Detroit hasn't lost a game in a long time, and 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games at home. I think the last time they lost a home game, if I'm not mistaken, is last Thanksgiving, maybe, to Green Bay. I don't think they've lost a game at home this year. I might be wrong about that, but I know Green Bay went there last Thanksgiving and upset everybody's early turkey day, who had Detroit in that game, and Jordan Love was on fire. He threw 4 touchdown passes. They were dominating the game. They're not intimidated to play there. Green Bay's been playing pretty well too. They're 7-1 in their last 8 games. To me, this is like, I think they're catching Detroit at the right time. I think they're pretty banged up on defense. And I think that Green Bay, I know they're missing Dobbs, but they have plenty of receivers. Jacobs, I think, is okay. And I think I just think it's a high scoring game, and I would take the 3.5 in a heartbeat. I've already done it. I think that hook could be big. And if you really like Green Bay, I would take the money line too, because if they're ever going to beat them, it's going to be tonight with the deficiencies that Detroit has on defense, in my opinion.
Okay. I see it differently. I think it's a sucker bet. I know it's a very, very popular bet, but I feel like that 3.5 is drawing me into something that I don't want to do. I have not been a fan of Green Bay this year, as you know. I think this is I think what happened to Detroit from a defensive standpoint is kind of a wash. Like, I know DJ Reader is out, I know Pascal's out, but they're getting back Jack Campbell. So I know Anzalone as their middle linebacker, but Jack Campbell is a very competent middle linebacker. So he gets slotted in there. And then they have Ezekiel Turner in for Rodriguez, which I also think is a fair swap.
Yeah, but on the back end, they're hurt. They're hurting on the back end, and Green Bay loves to throw it.
I know, but I have Detroit's defense ranked second in the NFL. I know their pass defense isn't as good as the run defense, but to me, I really am trying. I'm gonna take advantage of my opinion of Jordan Love, which is low. I think Green Bay has been the beneficiary the last 2 weeks of playing in weather at home. They dismantled Miami, and then the week before that, it was Tampa. Who did they beat?
Not Tampa. No, they beat someone else at home as well. But yes, they've been hot. Listen, they've been winning games.
Yeah, and their defense has looked unbelievable. I think this is a different class of offense that they really haven't faced yet, and I think that 3.5 number tells me that I should be on Detroit. So I like Detroit here.
That was San Fran at home that they beat also, the other team.
That's right.
Yeah. They're 4-1 in their last 5 on the road, straight up, Green Bay. They're definitely not intimidated by Detroit. I like LaFleur in this matchup. I think that he's got Campbell at a point where Campbell knows his personnel is a little bit weaker tonight, and certainly no Hutchinson definitely hurts them, in this matchup for sure, more so than it does in many other matchups in this league. So I've already bet Green Bay. I like the 3.5. We just don't see eye to eye on this at all. But I'm sure if you like Detroit, you probably like the under, being that you cited their defense so much that you don't believe in Love. So under 51.5, I'm opposite you. I have Green Bay and the over.
Yeah. Okay.
I have Green Bay and the over.
I would like the under.
Okay.
Okay. Atlanta, Minnesota, 5.5 is our contest line. And by the way, we went 3-2 last week, so not bad. Again,
no, not terrible.
I want to count up how many times we've lost by a half point this year.
It's a lot.
It's at least 5 times.
And it's a lot.
Yet another one.
Yep.
With Houston not being able to hold on after being up 24-6.
Absolutely fucking pathetic.
Fourth quarter.
Pathetic.
In this game, I like the Vikings. I think. So here, my whole handicap on this game is really based on one thing, and that is that Kirk Cousins is hurt and it's not being disclosed. But the way that he looked last week was beyond a bad performance to me. Like some of the throws that he made.
Yeah, the out throw that he threw for the pick six. I know there was no strength on the throw.
That's right. And I think something's going on there. And it's now 3 really bad performances in a row. The Saints, Denver
since
game,
the Tampa game.
Yeah, the Saint game, the Denver game, and now that game at home last week against the Chargers, where they had 3 drives, I think 65 yards, 70 yards, and 30 yards where they didn't score. And there was a pick 6 as part of that. And meanwhile, the Chargers had a horrible offensive performance and won that game. So Atlanta's been losing games where they've been outgaining the opponent. I actually think this game against Minnesota, they're going to get destroyed by this defense, which is the number 1 defense in the NFL, maybe number 2. And I just think something's wrong with Cousins. And this is like the beginning of a downward slide. I was even thinking about putting some Tampa futures in play, but I looked at them this morning and it's like -110, -105 to win the South. So I don't think there's any value there. But anyway, long way of saying
I think there's some value in the Tampa pick. I think there's some value in just the strength of schedule. They have the 28th, one of the weakest strength of schedules left. So if you like Tampa, I could understand making that bet. I mean, Atlanta's a lot higher on that chart. Actually, no, they're 26. So neither team really has it. Listen, my opinion.
It's just like Atlanta's -140 and Tampa's not plus money to win the South. And they both have 2 games that they could lose and 3 that they should win. So
but what's the line in this? What's the line in this game? 5.5. Okay, I see this game completely opposite of you. I'm throwing out last week's game at home. I think this is
4.5.
It's 6 live, so that's a really bad line for me because I like Atlanta. The line is 6.
Okay.
So I think that Cousins' return to Minnesota is going to be very similar to what Stafford did with the Rams. I know he's going to get his team to play well. I know it means a lot to him to go back and potentially win this game. So I am absolutely taking Atlanta with the points. Minnesota doesn't blow anybody out. It's not going to start this week. I am not impressed with Sam Darnold. I don't care what anybody says. 23 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I watched the game at Jacksonville. I watched the game that he had where he was unimpressive in Chicago, where they blew that game in the 4th quarter and they should have lost that game. And I got to say, I think this is going to be a game where Cousins has his team in the game. I'm not going to say they're going to win it, but I know they're not going to lose by more than 3. So I could see this being a 1-point game, and I would take those points gladly. I actually want it to keep going up in megabucks. Right now, it's 6 I saw at FanDuel, 5.5 5.5 at Wana. So I like Atlanta here to cover the spread. I think Cousins is going to be really prepared for this game. And I don't think Atlanta can afford to slip up anymore at all. And I think he can go in there and maybe pull off an upset that no one thinks he can do.
Okay. God, I can't believe you don't see what I see in him. Like, I don't think this is bad performance. I think he's hurt. But if you think he's going to snap out of it and have a great game against his
I would be stunned if he didn't. And I would be stunned if Bijan wasn't great and if London wasn't great and Kyle Pitts wasn't great. And their defense is going to play a better game than they've played. I mean, their defense really wasn't terrible against the Chargers. They held them in that game. They had every opportunity to win that game at home. And listen, it's not outdoors. It's an indoor track, and he's comfortable there. They're going to do a whole thing on the video board and the montage and the whole thing. And then when it gets down to playing, he's going to have something to prove against his old team. And I think that plus 5.5, that edge, I like a lot in this kind of a spot as a gambler.
Okay. Let's move on. Saints, Giants. I have no interest in this game.
Do we have to talk about it at all? I mean,
well, I don't know how the Saints are favored, and
I don't trust the Saints, and I can't bet on the Giants. So let's just skip the game.
Yeah, I think the one thing of note here, which possibly, I mean, I won't get on the Giants, but I think it's Taysom Hill being done for the year really hurts the Saints. I don't know.
Totally
favored like this. So
100%. They don't deserve to be favored like this at all. I know the Giants have quit. They're better off losing every game, but that doesn't mean they can't keep it close and cover at home. But, if I had to pick it, I think I would take the points, even though the Giants are awful. Drew Lock hopefully throws the ball to Neighbors a little bit more. I saw a thing on Neighbors. He set an NFL record for the fastest to 70 something receptions in his rookie year. So, I mean,
Really?
and yeah, so I mean, I know he's kind of disappeared from the touchdowns, but he's still getting the targets. He's still making the catches and the yards. He's just not getting in the end zone. So, a lot of people picked up the Saints defense in fantasy this week as a streamer. You can't really blame him for that, I guess. But I'm staying away from this game. I have no interest in picking this game at all.
Okay. Let's move on to Jacksonville, Tennessee. Trevor Lawrence is out for the year after that big hit by Al-Shaair. Any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on the hit?
I like the suspension. I think the guy, listen, Trevor probably slid a little early because he wanted the first down, and he knows the rule that where you start your slide is where you're down. He knew where the first down was. What?
Well, you mean he slid late?
That's what I meant. What did I say?
You said early.
Oh no, he slid late. Yeah, he slid late because he wanted the first down, but you still can't target the guy's head with your forearm.
I know.
They don't want defenders hitting quarterbacks in the head with their bod, their helmet, or their forearm. That's what he did. It was a dirty hit, and the league upheld the suspension, and I'm all for it. I listen, if you want the quarterbacks to stay. Now, the guy's out for the year now, right? So now we're on to another backup quarterback. So that's bad for football. Nobody wants to see backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally heard a Mark Schlereth, I think.
Yeah.
I heard him today finally sort of defending the defender, saying basically that, after Jesus, this guy Al-Shaair just getting lambasted all week long by every single personality in sports media. I finally heard somebody defend him today, and it was Mark Schlereth.
Yeah.
Talking about how maybe they should just do away with the slide rule altogether. Because the moment you leave the pocket and start running,
you're a runner.
You are a runner.
Great.
And this whole thing, it's kind of becomes this subjective call of when he slides. And obviously these defenders, and you and I have seen it 100 times where they are incapable of pulling back or holding back or not knowing whether the guy's going to slide or not, or when he's going to slide. It's just
right.
So maybe there is something to be said for that.
I don't agree with that at all. I think that's fucking moronic. And I think that's, first of all, that guy Schlereth is a freaking dumb slob. The guy used to piss himself on the field because he was fucking didn't want to go to the bathroom. I fucking hate that. He is a disgusting human being. I mean, that's a fact, right?
No.
He used to piss himself on the offensive line in the game. He's a complete... Of course, he's admitted it. He's an animal. He is a vile human being. Vile. Now, he did win some Super Bowls. I'm not saying it affected his play, but I'm saying anybody who can piss themselves consciously, okay, is not too far off from a fucking Neanderthal.
Oh God! But
funny. Anyway, I don't agree with taking away the slide, and I'll tell you why. I think if you start taking away the slide, two things will happen. Either you lose the RPO, and you're going to get quarterbacks that are no longer willing to run. Mm-hmm. So the way the game has progressed and the way the game is being taught now, a real weapon on offense is a quarterback that can kill you with his arm and his legs. You start taking the legs away because of injury, and that will happen. These defensive players are much stronger than these quarterbacks for the most part, and much bigger. And you will have incidents like Carson Wentz, like Robert Griffin III, like countless other guys that have scrambled and gotten hit and blown out their knee or broken their leg or broke their shoulder. And then you're going to end up watching guys like Drew Lock and Mac Jones and all this other guys playing football that nobody wants to watch. So I think the league is right with the slide rule. I do think it's got to be tweaked a little. There's probably some instances and some things you can do with it, but I don't agree with eliminating it altogether. I think that would be the wrong road unless you're willing to go back to pocket passing and the quarterbacks don't run. Mm-hmm. Because that's where that will go. Because you have to say to yourself, if you have a good team, right, and you have Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to let Patrick Mahomes run around and get hit and not be able to slide and protect himself. He just won't run.
Well, I think
it's not worth it.
But what do you think of if they change it and say there's no slide rule? Then basically quarterbacks that get out of the pocket and start running, they'll just have to go down a lot sooner than they currently are, and they won't ever be tempted to try to bite off a little bit more than they currently
But
are.
you're saying they
Or
can still slide, or they can still just go
sure,
down,
yeah, they can just go down.
but then you can hit them on their way down.
Well, not if they're down. I don't know.
Mm.
I guess what I'm
It's
saying
it's a
is,
slippery slope because I mean, if you want to make them runners like it used to be, that's the way the NFL used to be. You go out. Steve Young used to run. He used to get fucking hit, but he was strong and he used to be able to get up and do it. I think that a lot of teams that invest a lot of money in these quarterbacks now, it's a different game. You know, you got paying a guy $50 million a year, and you have a good team. Are you really going to risk him on a 3rd and 5 RPO where he could get hit and be out for the year for 1 first down? I don't know. I don't think that makes sense. I like the idea of protecting the quarterbacks kind of the way they are because I want to watch on Sundays. I want to see starting NFL quarterbacks.
okay.
That's my feeling on it anyway. I don't
Okay.
know.
Mac Jones is now starting for the Jags.
Yeah.
And now it's I feel like they're like getting so much respect in this game. I don't know. It feels like they're not getting enough points for how bad they've been playing.
It's 3.5, right?
Yeah, it's 3.5.
I like Tennessee.
Me too. I mean, I really hope this isn't one of our top 5, but
well, we both agree on it, so it could be in there.
Willing to
Tennessee is 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games at home against Jacksonville. So Jacksonville has a history of not playing well in Tennessee anyway.
Yeah.
And then you throw in the backup quarterback thing. And I think, I mean, I don't want to say this. I should probably punch myself in the face for saying it, but I think Will Levis is playing a little better.
Without a doubt.
Lately.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's got, unlike, what's his face from the Steelers, who's the number 2?
Justin Fields?
No.
Russell Wilson?
No, the Tennessee.
Oh, Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudolph. I think Will's floor is lower and his ceiling is higher. So
totally. He's got a great long ball. Yeah, and Ridley.
Boomer bust type.
Yeah.
But I like, so all right, we're aligned here. We both like the Titans. I'm willing to throw out that Washington game and sort of, think about how well they played against Houston and the previous 3 weeks.
No question.
I don't think they've quit yet. And they're trying to put something together down there with him.
Yeah. Listen, and Mac Jones, what I've seen of him has not been great. I know Brian Thomas Jr. is a really special player, and Mac Jones gets the ball to him a lot. I mean, his targets with Mac under center have been almost more than with Trevor. So, and he's dangerous. Like, he can score at any time. So this game to me, if it evolves into a shootout, I think that's bad for us. Like if we like Tennessee, I think we need their defense to play well and Mac Jones to not do well. And that's how we cover. If this game's going to be a 28-27 game, we're not going to win.
Yeah. And let's file it under a backup plan.
Okay.
But I hope this isn't one of our top 5.
Okay.
All right. Raiders, Tampa. This line was 7 for a day or so. A bunch of money took it out yesterday morning.
Where's it now?
6.5.
Huh.
Feels
still
like,
7 at Wana.
Yeah, feels like a lot for Tampa to cover, but at this point, one thing the Raiders have shown me really with that loss to the Chiefs, they almost won the game. They haven't given up. They're not going to quit, and they're playing right. They continue to play hard, and I don't know. I thought AOC actually got his feet underneath him by the second or third quarter of that game, and he actually looked okay. Better than Gardner Minshew, but I'm not willing to get behind them. I'm passing on this one.
When you said AOC, all I thought about was an angry text from Reed. Different AOC.
Of course.
I will say this. I like the Raiders in the over. I think the Raiders are going to score at will on Tampa Bay secondary, which is not good. I think Bowers is the best tight end in football. He's setting records. I think Jacoby Myers has a big day. I kind of like what I've seen of Aiden O'Connell. They have a couple backup running backs that have been okay. Tampa doesn't seem to blow anybody out. I think Tampa can win this game. I think they should win this game. I do not think they're going to cover 7 points. So I like the Raiders, and I like the over a lot. I'm putting the over in this game in a lot of my parlays.
Okay. I like that. Next game is Browns Steelers. You want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. I've been impressed with Cleveland. I love Jameis Winston. I've said it a million times in this pod. I like him as a person, and I think he's a gunslinger. Again, 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, right? So he lives and dies by that. And he's asked the Lord for help and intervention into the pick six thing, which I think is great. But I think this game really is about redemption for the Steelers. There's going to be no snow. It's going to be not a weather related game. So I think it's just going to be, how you do it on the field. I think that Tomlin, basically addressed the Myles Garrett situation, that they didn't have enough answers for Myles Garrett. He dominated the game, and I think that'll be corrected. TJ Watt, I think, has a big game. We're at home, and I like the way we're playing. I really like the way Russ is playing. I think he's playing the best football of his career. I was super impressed with his game at Cincinnati, with the adjustments at the line, getting them out of into right protections, getting them out of plays that were not going to work and into better plays, recognizing the one-on-ones and hitting the throws. I mean, the guy had an unbelievable game. 126 passer rating, 29 for 38, 415 yards passing, a bunch of touchdowns. He's playing great football. So Cleveland had their chance. They beat us. It was a great football game in the snow. I just think this game, Steelers in the under. This is clamp down defense. This is turning over Jameis. And we get a lot, enough points in the 20s to cover 6.5 points. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. I think it's too many to lay. And I know I'm very impressed with the Steelers and how they've been playing, but what I saw last week in Denver, the fact that we put up 32 points, Jameis is going to be slinging it again. We're going to be throwing the ball a lot. There's going to be no shortage of desire and will to win this game. It's going to be just like the game in Cleveland, except we are going to lose this game. But I just think we're going to keep it inside the number.
Okay.
It's always a field goal game. I don't see why this would be any different. I see you guys winning this at the end, and I see us with a chance. I really feel like with Jameis, behind the wheel, we're going to have a chance to win every game. And if he somehow, if his prayers are answered and he somehow doesn't turn the ball over, I mean, we could end up winning this game. It's highly unlikely. But I actually think there's a real chance of that happening. And I just think this is just not a typical, Pittsburgh never lays this kind of number to anyone. And the fact that it's out this high, it's just feels like too much wood to chop. I think it's
okay.
3.5, 3. That would make me comfortable with Pittsburgh. But even then, I think, on that side of 3, I would be tempted to take Cleveland, but this is just way too much.
I like it. I like the Steelers a lot here with the Browns coming off, it's a short week, Mile High, coming back off a disappointing loss with a quarterback with all of the pomp and circumstance and the great speeches and everything he says. That kind of loses its luster when you throw 2 pick sixes in the game and you lose the game for your team. When the rest of the team buys in and you don't hold up your end of the bargain, that wears thin pretty quickly. I also think, most importantly, the adjustments made by the Steelers this week. Remember, we played you on a short week in your building in the snow. I think we're going to be really prepared for this game on defense. I do not see you guys having the kind of offensive explosion you had in Denver at all. I think that I think the Browns are lucky to score 20 points in this game. I don't think they will. And I think the Steelers will score 27-30. And I think they'll cover this game, I think, by 10 points or more. That's what makes a horse race. I could be dead wrong, obviously.
Yeah.
I think if you're a teaser player and you want to play a teaser and you feel like it could be a closer game, I would take the Steelers in a teaser with whatever else you like. But I'm not doing that. I don't really love teasers to begin with. They either cover or they don't. And to me, this one's going to be Steelers in the under. That's my parlay.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's one more week left in our little Jameis run. This is the last one.
Okay.
Okay. Carolina, Philly. Now, I was telling Brad on this game that this is the worst possible matchup for Carolina that they could possibly ever dream of. They cannot stop the run at all. And Philadelphia could rush for 400 yards. They also, the only thing that they really do well is run the ball. And Philadelphia's the best part of their defense is stopping the run. So anything short of
I think Bryce Young's been a little better the last few games throwing the ball. I mean, he
Without a
did throw
doubt.
that.
And
He taught,
I've been right.
he hit
Yeah.
Thielen in the fourth quarter with 30 seconds left to tie that game. I mean, he's been better,
Trust me, I had them in that game. They were in the parlay. I liked
Yeah.
them, and even liked them against the Chiefs, although I couldn't convince you there. So I mean, he's been feisty, and they've been playing a lot better. If the Eagles have a letdown game and this is it, then I could see it happening. But if they show up prepared and ready to play this game, and if there's any kind of like organizational interest in getting Saquon an MVP, he could easily have 150 yards in this game, easy against this defense.
Yeah.
So if you want like an easy win, and you're Philly, or you want to get out to a 28-0 halftime lead against any team in the league, this is the one to do it on. So long story short, I like Philly. I'd lay the 12.5.
Yeah, I don't know how focused they'll be after that win against Baltimore. I think they're probably feeling themselves pretty good this week, and this is I think it's gonna be very hard for them to get up for this game.
Yeah,
I think Carolina is going to be very similar to the Kansas City game last week. I think they're just going to be hanging around, and I think you're going to get an uninspired Philly team that is not looking to step on throats, not impressed with Carolina. Oh, this is an easy game. Let's save ourselves. We don't even really have to work for this win, blah, blah, blah. And that's when you can get yourself into trouble when you're laying a lot of points. I wouldn't bet real money in this game. I would never take Carolina, but I won't lay those points of Philly in this game as confidently as you will. I just don't. I'm just not comfortable with them the way I would be with Detroit, like against Tennessee when they were at home and we were like, let's just take Detroit. They're going to kill them. I don't see Philly as that kind of a team.
Let me just be clear though. I'm not sure about their motivation here. Like, I'm just saying, if they are motivated, they would destroy this team. I don't know who's going to show up, to be honest with you.
There's been a lot of calls this week. I know all week long about how the Philly is now the number one team in the NFL after the game against Baltimore and what they did to them. And that Detroit, if they slip up at all, including tonight, which I think they can, I'm betting that they could lose tonight. I think they could lose home field. If Philly wins home field, I'll tell you right now, I do not think Detroit can go there and win a game in the cold. I do not. I don't believe that.
So
I don't think they can do it
there that I hadn't even thought about, and that is the motivation behind the number one seed. So that's always
they have to win out. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. So the thing with me is Bryce Young's been playing a lot better. I get Philly's defense has been unreal. Like, you got to give them credit. I think Philly's defense last year was 30th in the league, and they're like 4th. So this Vic Fangio thing, it didn't start great, but man, lately their defense has been unbelievable. So if they confuse and befuddle Bryce Young, who's still a young quarterback, and Carolina is not really able to move the ball, this game can get really ugly really quick. I mean, this game could be 42-10. So I'm with you. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll convince me Sunday morning that we should take Philly, and maybe I'll do it.
Okay. We already have CLV if we're laying 12.5 because market's 13. So
correct.
Okay. Next game is Jets Miami. Thank God we didn't bail on Seattle last week and went against the Jets. I mean, the Jets are an absolute. It's just so good to bet against them, knowing that they end up being. I mean, you were getting on me when it was 14-0. That score of that game was 21. Sorry, it was 14-0.
Well, that game turned. That game turned when Aaron Rodgers missed Garrett Wilson wide open on a pass that should have been caught for a touchdown. It would have been 28. It would have been 28 and the game's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Jets would have had that lead. Seattle never would have had a chance to come back. So, but losing teams find ways to lose. And the Jets are a losing team. They're not playing great football. They haven't played great football pretty much all year. Miami's trying to do something here. This is a rivalry game. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. The line's 6.5.
That was the score when that happened. It was 21-6, right? So it was about to be 28.
It was going to be 28-6. Correct.
They didn't score again.
No.
In the game.
Yeah.
I don't need to say anything.
Well, they're going to keep rolling Rodgers out there. I thought Devontae had a good game, even though he had a big drop.
That happened early in the second quarter.
I understand.
They did not score again. They did not. After that happened, they basically packed it up.
Yeah, I understand. They couldn't move the ball. They didn't score. They turned it over. Nothing right. Breece Hall fumbled. I mean, I didn't see a lot of that game, but I know what happened. And, Breece Hall doesn't fumble the ball often at all, but, helmet on the
You say
ball.
whatever you want about Jameis Winston. He throws a pick six and he comes out there and throws a bomb to
Yeah.
Judy.
I told you, I feel like
he's got Rodgers doing anything like that.
He's got a lot of Favre in him, Jameis. I told you that last week. I feel like Favre was the same way. Immediately erase the mistake and come right out and throw a touchdown 80 yards. Like, it's an amazing thing for him, Jameis, to be able to do that. Not many quarterbacks can do it. A lot of them will carry that with them, the weight of that, and linger. And then you waste a series and you waste another series. And then when you finally snap out of it, it's too late.
Yeah. Anyway, I could be talked into laying this number against the Jets with Miami. I don't know what the trends say, but
Miami's 5-0 straight up in their last 5 at home against the Jets, and 7-1 overall in their last 8 when they're playing the Jets. So they win the games a lot. The question is what the point spread is. I think Miami will be motivated. I don't see how the Jets can be.
Yeah,
I like Miami.
And
I would take Miami.
Watching that Miami Green Bay game. I wasn't like, oh, Tua can't win in the cold. That was not my takeaway. My takeaway from that game was, man, Green Bay's defense played unbelievable in that game. Like Tua was.
I think it's both.
He was distributing it. The offense actually looked good. It was a terrible, fucking blinding snowstorm.
I think it's both.
Struggling.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that they dug a hole that was too deep, and Green Bay jumped to a big lead, and it's hard, man. Yeah. Green Bay at home is really good on defense, and they're hard to come back against in the cold. It's not an easy thing to do. So we'll see if Green Bay's defense can bring that to Detroit tonight and turn over Goff and turn over Gibbs and see if they can do that. That'll be interesting to me, because that'll be Green Bay for me. I have Green Bay in some bets to win the NFC, as my long shot pick. And that's my dark horse in this race. The whole country has Detroit and Philly. I mean, let's face it, everybody does. But if there's another team, I don't have Minnesota. I have Green Bay. To me, Green Bay is a much better team than Minnesota. I don't care what the stats say. I don't care about Flores in the defense. I really don't care about Sam Darnold. He's not winning a big game. I have to see it to believe it. Jordan Love, I've seen win big games.
Okay. So you and I agree on Miami here.
Yeah, let's take Miami. 6.5.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. Best game of the day, in my opinion, Seattle, Arizona. This is such a high leverage game. Basically, the winner of this game is going to host a playoff game, and the loser is.
You can't say that for sure. I mean, there's so much football to be played.
It's very possible that
they're all 6-6. Every team.
No, San Francisco's not going anywhere.
But the Rams are
right,
6-6.
I'm saying the winner of this game could easily host a playoff game, and the loser could be out.
Correct.
Now there's a really popular trend. I don't know if you have it in your numbers, but one of the most popular and bet on trends by professional gamblers, going back 30, 40 years, is this exact scenario where a team who lost to a division rival or division team within a three-week period or something or within the last month
plays them again,
it hits at a very high percentage
that they beat them, or that the same team wins again.
That it gets flipped. That the comeback is, so basically the bet is Arizona.
Yeah, so you're getting splits in division games most of the time, is what you're saying.
That's right. Especially when it happens within a short period of time.
Surprised you don't like the Steelers then against the Browns, but maybe that only applies to the NFC West. But I will say this: Seattle has owned this matchup. Jack, Seattle has owned this matchup. I don't care however you look at it. They are 5-0 straight up when they in the last 5 against. They're 6-1. They're 6-1 straight up in the last 7 when they play in Arizona. They win there all the time. Seattle, I think, is the better team. To me, Arizona has shown themselves the last 2 weeks to be failures. They have been awful the last 2 weeks. And Kyler Murray in 3 weeks, went from a guy that I thought was really getting it to a guy that is now who I thought they were. He was. Whatever. Dennis Green. He is what I thought he was. In other words, he's not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I like Seattle in this game. I think Seattle's going to win the game. I think Seattle's a better team. I think Smith-Njigba is unstoppable at wide receiver. And I mentioned that at the very first podcast that this guy Smith-Njigba would have a career year because this guy loves to throw to the slot receiver. And my God, he is destroying defenses. Mm-hmm. And Arizona's offense has not been good. I want them to be good. I had McBride. James Conner's disappeared. Marvin Harrison disappeared. So are you telling me Marvin Harrison suddenly is going to make some plays and that Kyler's going to get good again in this game? When I first saw it,
I think you're being too hard on them, Joel.
Okay, but when I first saw it, I felt the same way you did. I said, oh my God, Arizona at home was only -2.5. I love Arizona. And then I looked at the trends, and I'll tell you, Seattle owns this matchup. I don't see what's going to change it.
Oh, man. DVOA has Arizona ranked 7th. Offense is ranked 7th. Defense is ranked 12th. Like, I know Seattle's been, I'm a big Seattle fan. Like,
totally. Gino's been playing better. Gino's been better.
Yeah. I couldn't sing their praises enough over the past 3 weeks, but I like that trend of the team coming back. And you're right about Pittsburgh. Maybe I'll change my mind about that. But I think it's Arizona's turn to win this matchup in this game. And that's one of my picks.
You know what? When I first saw the line, I said the same thing. I'm like, man, Arizona's played like shit the last 2 weeks, but man, this would be such a get right spot for them to finally beat Seattle. They never beat Seattle. They haven't beaten Seattle in I don't know when the last time they beat Seattle was. Did they beat them this year? No.
Well, they just lost 2 weeks ago.
Right.
13-6. And there was it
was a low scoring game. It was 16-6. Kyler played terrible.
He played terrible, and he threw a pick 6, which really was the difference in that game. Gino also threw a pick 6, and they ended up winning. But I think it was if you threw out the turnovers,
yeah,
is sort of like this whole new modeling that people do with the adjusted scores, which I think is really cool because turnovers. I like looking at a game when you throw the turnovers out.
Well, it could give you a short field. It can it throws off the stats. It throws off the stats.
Your fault. It got tipped.
100%. I totally
not always due to bad play.
I understand. That's why I say stats are not always foolproof.
Right. So sometimes you can assign the blame to the quarterback, or you can assign it to the offensive line, like all that shit. But anyway, long way of saying that I think it's going to be payback, and I think they'll even the score in this one. And I like Arizona at home.
Well, let me just say one thing to you that makes me like Seattle. Okay.
Yeah.
5 of the last 6 games that Arizona has played have gone under the total. That is a bad trend for Arizona. Arizona cannot win low scoring games. They're a team that has to score points with Conner running in the end zone, Kyler Murray running, Harrison and McBride. That's how they win games. And that guy Dortch, they have to be scoring 28 to 30 points to win games. That's when they're playing well. They have not played well 5 of the last 6 games on offense. They're not, and Seattle has played, I think, pretty good the last few weeks.
But they haven't been able to figure out McBride, and I don't think Conner is going to have as bad of a game as he did in Seattle. He got totally shut down. I think
he did
figure that out.
He did.
I just see a bounce back, like a really nice bounce back. And they lost 2 really heartbreaking games the last 2 weeks. They were both
Minnesota, and the week before Seattle.
Yeah. And I think they're coming home. This is it. It's the home game. It's a must-win game. They're going to get it done. And I like the fact that people took the money and took it off 3. And I want to maybe ride with you on Sunday, but if I don't ride with you and I stick to my guns and take Seattle and feel like Seattle is the best team in this division, which I think they might be. Okay. Kenneth Walker III, Metcalf and Smith-Njigba and Lockett with Geno Smith when he's not throwing interceptions is better than any other team in this league. Even the Rams. And you said the most important thing, and this is when the tide turns.
Yeah, Geno.
We're gonna see bad Geno.
Yeah, you could. I've seen bad Geno. Bad Geno is infuriating.
Right.
See, bad Geno is different than
they didn't play that well against the Jets. the Jets folded. I think if you look at the stat line, they actually didn't play that great of a game and necessarily even outgain in some key metrics. So
yeah,
I think Bad Gino is coming to Arizona on Sunday.
You got to be a little fair, though. Seattle, it's a long trip for them. It's a 1 o'clock game. It took them a while to get their legs. They outplayed them in the second half. They played their best football in the second half, Seattle, which is not uncommon for a West Coast team playing a 1 o'clock game. But I will say the difference between Bad Gino and Bad Jameis is night and day in terms of the energy. Oh my God. Like Bad Jameis is like, okay, and then he comes over, he apologizes, he's got a smile on his face, he goes back out there, and it's like it never happened.
I know.
Geno Smith is stewing on the fucking bench, smashing his helmet. He's freaking out, crying. I mean, it's different. It's different. He's crying.
Actually crying, right?
What was that movie where the crying game where he comes out of the shower?
Oh my God!
Why did I think of that?
And Pet Detective,
that's great.
When they did a spoof on that in the shower after he kissed that guy.
That was so great, dude. We just lost our way. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. But listen, if I don't agree with you on Sunday morning, if I still like Seattle, I'll Venmo you that game because that's a game I would bet 20 on taking Seattle if I have the same conviction. Because you seem very convicted on Arizona.
I do. I'm ready to come with them this week. They're going to be in my parlays.
They're going to be in your parlay. So then you really like money line.
What I hate, I don't know. It's 2.5. It's
2.5.
Let's do the next game. Buffalo at the Rams. I think this line is 4.5.
It is.
And it's only 3.5 in the contest. No, it's 3.5. It's 3.5 in the market today. Okay.
Is it really?
Yeah. So I think this is a little bit too much. Speaking of Seattle, this reminds me so much of when Buffalo played Seattle. And I really, to this day, think Seattle could have won or at least covered that game. They had 2 horrible turnovers, and they actually turned Buffalo over. It's like I remember like it was yesterday. I think it was week 4. Buffalo was laying 4 on the road, and Josh Allen turned it over. And they weren't able. They basically had the ball inside the 5-yard line. Seattle did twice and only came away with 3 points. But Buffalo. Look, last 2 weeks they had 2 weather games. They played. Was it Miami first and then San Francisco? Both in the snow. Destroyed both of them. And now
they won in Indianapolis. When we both had Indy, we were hoping that Richardson would show up and have a good game, and he was awful. And Buffalo smashed. They smashed Indianapolis.
2 weeks.
That was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, they played at home again in bad weather and destroyed somebody. I forget.
And then, of course, San Fran on the Monday night game, Sunday night game was non-competitive game.
I think it was Miami, actually.
Could have been.
Anyway, I just think this should be 2.5. I think the Rams are going to cover. I don't know if I'm ready to go to the window.
I can't believe you like the fucking Rams the one week how do you like the Rams? You never like the Rams. Their defense is a sieve. They can't stop the run.
I know.
Buffalo scores 30 points every week. This is not going to be any different. They're going to put up 31 points. You think the Rams, I like the Rams offense, but they're not going to be able to hang with that. I don't think. I mean, listen, I'm a big Stafford guy. I love Nakua. I love Kupp. Kupp hasn't been great. They can score. I like the over, but they're not. I mean, you're telling me they're going to slow down Buffalo's offense?
I do. Look, I just think it's too many to lay, and I'm not ready to necessarily go and bet the Rams, but I'm a little afraid of Buffalo in this.
Wow.
Laying this number.
You think they could get picked off here?
Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a bit of a trap, letdown, weird NFC, a non-conference,
I feel like Buffalo's fucking dialed in this year, man. I mean, every time you doubt them, they just smash people. It's like they're not. Buffalo's not fucking around anymore. They're like, I don't care what you guys think of us. We lost half our roster, but we're just wrecking people. We'll either run it, we'll throw it to the tight end, we'll throw it to a wide receiver you've never fucking heard of. Josh Allen will run it himself. We don't care. We're just going to score 30 something points and we're just going to let our defense hold you. And, I know the Rams offense is good and I agree with you. They are. But is Buffalo capable of a type of defensive effort that Miami had against the Rams? Ask yourself that.
I think they are.
think they are.
Yeah. Especially Milano. I mean, I think he played every snap last week. Like, he's back.
Yeah, I think they got the other guy back too. Hyde, right? Micah
Yeah.
Hyde came back. Yeah, Micah Hyde's back.
Let me see.
I don't know. Listen, you may be right. Like, it's hard. It's a tough league to call because you could have a good team get picked off. Like, the Rams aren't a bad team. If the Rams could put up 35 on you, like that, but their defense has not been great. And I thought, and maybe I'm a little bit scarred from when I took them against Philadelphia, and their offensive line just chewed that D line to death. And Saquon had a huge night, and I can't get that out of my head, But if James Cook is capable, he could score 3 touchdowns too. You know what I'm saying?
What do your trends say on this one?
Buffalo. Basically, it just says the total has gone over in 8 of the last 10 times the Rams have played Buffalo. So it's a high scoring game every time they play. Is basically what it says. But that's the only head-to-head trend. Other than that, it's stuff that the Bills are 7-0. I mean, 5-0 straight up in their last 5, 6-1 against the spread in their last 7. But the Rams are 5-2 straight up in their last 7 games. So the Rams haven't been playing bad football. They lost at home to Philly, which everybody probably would, right? I mean, the Philly's unbelievable. And they went into New England. They won that game. Did the Rams win last week as well? Who did the Rams have last week? I feel like they did.
They beat the Saints.
Yeah, they beat the Saints. Like, again, they're not playing these great teams. Like, Buffalo's a real team. The last time they played a real team at home, they got smashed. So I'm a little hesitant with the Rams here. I like the Rams. I love their offense. I just don't believe so much in the defense that they're going to be able to, unless this is a trap game and you're saying maybe Buffalo might not have their full motivation and their full focus, and that's possible because I like the coach. McVay's very good. But to me, Buffalo seems really focused this year. Like, they are just on a mission, man. They're pounding people.
Okay. I don't disagree with anything you said. It felt like a little too much. But again, if I go back to my liking, like that number 3.5 and the favorite, and I don't know, I've been on the wrong side of Buffalo so many times this year. But we did get them right last week, even though it wasn't our top 5. But all right, let's keep that in the hopper. I kind of like Buffalo the more I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they're so dialed in. I mean, what's going to throw them off? I mean, it's a fast track. It's a beautiful field. It's a high scoring game. Josh Allen hasn't been turning it over this year at all, so he's a different player.
Okay, let's move on. Bears 49ers. You want to go first on this?
I love this game. I like the Bears on the money line, and I'm taking the 3.5. I think their offense. I think you get the dead cat bounce here off the firing of the coach, who was a completely inept moron who lost the game on Thanksgiving Day, and I was alive in all these money line parlays. I wanted to kill the guy. His answer in the press conference was a disaster, and they fired him immediately after, and I would have too. So I like the Bears are doing some decent things on offense. I think they have great weapons. I think they're good. I think San Francisco's done. I mean, it's over. San Francisco is not the team we think they are. I don't think they're going to be, I think they'll be competitive in this game, but not good enough to win the game. I don't, that's how I feel about it. I think we feel like San Francisco is what they were. They have no Bosa. The defense is not as good. I think Chicago's going to be able to move the ball. I know Mason loves the over in this game, 44. He thinks you grab it now before it moves up. That's his opinion. But I'm taking the 3.5. I like the Bears with the 3.5.
I'm with you. Right. Throwing dirt on the San Francisco grave. I think, even though the look ahead line on this one was probably much higher, the Bears have perfected the art of losing by a field goal. And granted, they were all the NFC North, rivals and other
so
teams.
True.
And they're all very good teams. Packers, Lions, Vikings. Like, they lost to all 3 of them by a field goal the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And hard luck, and that combined with the dead coach bounce that I think they'll get, it's and the fact that San Francisco's done. I mean, part of me thinks, okay, like San Francisco, just think about what they had to go through the last 2 weeks. They had to fucking play in a blizzard twice.
and
once in Green
and put
Bay.
McCaffrey, their best player, back on the IR.
Yeah. By the
Demoralizing.
way, I don't know if you saw the video of his calf popping.
I did see it. Yeah.
Oh,
The
that poor
PCL.
guy. So he's
That's a
done.
PCL injury. That's 4 weeks minimum and then surgery. It's not great for him, McCaffrey. I feel
Oh.
bad for the guy.
Does part of me think like San Francisco like will be playing in sunny weather and like snap out of it? Yeah, for sure. Just when you thought they were done, I could see them coming out and just lighting up the Bears.
Well, I will say this
Bears being sort of like
the trends do support San Francisco because they've been such a great franchise and the Bears have been shit. So they're 8-2. They're 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 against Chicago. But that's with real players and when they have their full complement of players. And I don't know if you heard this. This is tragic news. Is Trent Williams, the offensive lineman who's an All-Pro. He was having a child and it was stillborn.
Oy.
So like that's just such another like negative in this whole season has been such a fucking negative for San Francisco. I just don't know how you escape that vortex of negativity. And you know what? Chicago is in a great bounce spot here off firing a coach that was inept that probably cost them 3 games with his own decisions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think they have an opportunity. Caleb and Keenan Allen's playing well, and Odunze. I like Chicago's offense here. I think Chicago's going to be right in this game. 3.5 to me is a lot of points in this game.
No, I agree. Look, let's hope. I mean, I hope this isn't in our top 5, even though I agree with you, because the Bears are a bad team. And it's like you of all people buying into the recency bias.
But are they a bad team or were they just a poorly coached team that's not as bad as the coach was? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot to be said for that.
I think both. Yeah,
I think you got to give some of that to the fact that the coach's decisions have cost them a lot of games.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, we saw it, right?
Right. And San Francisco's reeling. I mean, they're a reeling franchise right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Okay. Sunday night, Chargers, Chiefs. This one's easy to me.
Me too.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Week 4, the Chiefs were laying 8. I know it closed at 7 on the road, and they won by 7. And now they come home. They're only laying, is it 3.5?
Yep.
It's 3.5. It's 4.5 in the contest. So maybe that's not good CLV, but McConkey's out. And I think
not necessarily. Practice today. Limited practice. Yep.
Okay. So
you and I are not aligned in this game. I could tell right away. I love the Chargers in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen enough over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like they shouldn't have even won that Atlanta game. As bad as Cousins played, I don't know. They outgained the Chargers. The Chargers have no offense. McConkey is like such a big part of it, and he's questionable. Okay, let's keep our eye on whether he plays or not. The other guy is dropping all the balls, can't catch.
Quentin Johnson out of TCU.
He's terrible, and so is their offense. Joey Bosa is a wreck and cannot rush the passer.
He doesn't play. I don't even consider him. Is Khalil Mack playing?
Well, here's
that's all that matters to me. Is Derwin James playing? That's what matters to me.
Yeah, and I think that the
Chiefs, is Harbaugh coaching? That's what matters to me.
Okay. So you obviously like the Chargers.
I like the Chargers in the under. I think the Chargers are going to keep this low scoring. I'm not impressed with Kansas City at all. I think this is one of the worst Chiefs teams I've seen in a long time. They have 5 lucky wins. They're not even supposed to be anywhere near what their record is. The referees and the team's ineptitude, they should have lost to the Raiders. We all know it, or at least gone to overtime. They've won a lot of games they shouldn't have won. I like the way Harbaugh's coaching this team. I love the way the defense is playing. The Chiefs will score less than 20 points in this game or right around 20, and the Chargers will score more than that. Herbert's been better, and they're going to run the ball and slow the clock down. This is going to be a low-scoring game, and the Chargers could win this game. And if you give me 4.5 points, it's an easy bet.
McConkey remained limited at practice.
He's limited, yeah.
He has to practice in full tomorrow, so let's just keep an eye on that. If he doesn't play, Cello, I I cannot get behind this team. The other thing I was going to mention about the Chiefs is that I think like the more I like read about and listen to others talk about the Chiefs and what's been like sort of wrong with the offense, it's kind of like the left side of their offensive line like makes Cleveland's problems look like pedestrian. They have they have not had a left tackle all year. And they got this guy, DJ Humphries, who's coming back. And I think they're finally going to be able to protect the blind side, and Mahomes is going to have some more time. And plus, with Hopkins, they didn't even have Hopkins. They didn't, and Worthy, I don't think played in that first game, and they're getting Pacheco back. Like
Worthy's out,
huh?
Right? Worthy's still out, right?
No, he's playing, totally healthy, no designation. Smith-Schuster, Worthy, Hopkins. He didn't have 2 out of 3 of those in the first game. Pacheco was hurt in the first game, and the offense is just. I think they've been great the last 2-3 weeks. I know it was against the Raiders and the Panthers, but I think their offense is finally clicking. They finally have an offensive left tackle back on the staff, and the defense, can get dialed up against a shitty offense like this. Like I think, like laying a small number like this is a gift. I like the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't think that first of all, I don't think the Chargers offense is shitty. I think Herbert's having a great season, like really great season. He's probably like the 5th best quarterback in football. I know.
I didn't even score against Atlanta last week.
Listen, that's on the road on a short week. I get it. It's a West Coast team playing an early game in Atlanta. I totally understand. I get it. They won the game. That's what matters. I know losing Dobbins really hurt them, but I think the second week without Dobbins will be a lot better. I think Gus Edwards is a real dangerous player in this game. He will score a touchdown at Kansas City from inside the 5. He's going to run one right in. I know he is, and I like the tight end a lot. Kansas City cannot defend the tight end. This guy Disley will score a touchdown. And if they have McConkey on the field with Quentin Johnson, I think that Herbert's going to have him in this game. Herbert's been in this game many times in Arrowhead, even with the old coach, and he always kept it close. There's no reason he's not going to keep it close here. That's way too many points. And
we saw what happened.
They could actually win this game. I have them in a money line parlay winning this game. I think the Chiefs are a little bit fraudulent of a team, in my opinion.
And the Chargers face a real offense. It was only because Cousin was throwing pick sixes and horrible balls. But if you look at the Chargers defense, who, by the way, their average strength of schedule against the teams they played this year is last in the league. But just remember what Cincinnati and Baltimore did to this team. The Chiefs are going to do the exact same thing. They're going to put up 35. They're going to kill them.
Chiefs don't put up 35 points anymore against anybody. Not this year's.
They did it 2 weeks ago.
Not this year's Chiefs. Oh yeah, they did it to Carolina and barely won. You're right.
I'm saying what did they score last week? I know they didn't cover, but they put up at least 28, didn't they?
They did it to the worst team in football on the road and barely got away with it against Carolina.
What was the score of the Raider game?
Not third. They didn't score 35 against the Raiders.
Well, they had 28, I think.
They should have lost that game. They got the benefit of the worst call I've seen all year, where the fucking referee came in, the line judge came in and said it was a false start, and all of a sudden the referee got buzzed and said, no, we got to give the Chiefs the win. That's not a false start. That's an illegal shift, and that can't be. What are you guys doing? Of course, the game's over. What? Over? What?
That was crazy.
And that's exactly how it happened. And you see the guy coming in like this, false start. No. Stop doing that. Stop moving your hands like that. You saw the referee talk to him.
Stop doing that. It's an illegal shift.
Stop doing that. It's an illegal shift, you idiot. It's this. And the game's over.
Oh, my
Honestly,
God.
The center for the Raiders, he should have taken his helmet and smashed it over that referee's fucking head. I thought he was going to do it. He was irate.
I think
irate.
He got a foul, didn't he?
Well, he was the one who he snapped the ball early. I get it.
I know.
But honestly, that's a pre-snap penalty. It's 5 yards. The game that shouldn't be a fucking game over.
I know.
That's the sickest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like only the Chiefs get that. I swear, Reed says it all the time. Steelers, Chiefs, Michigan, blah, blah, what a Notre Dame. He says stupid shit like that. But he's right about the Chiefs.
Well, you know who else is like that? And that's another reason why I'm going against them tonight is the Packers.
Who?
Packers.
Do they get a lot of calls?
Oh, my God. And I forgot all about it.
You don't think Detroit's charmed?
I fallen victim to that more than I care to admit. And I am so certain of Green
Yeah.
Bay home flags. And I tell myself, do not ever bet against Green Bay. Don't do it. And
Yeah.
I had a live bet on Miami during that game, and it ended up coming true again. Like, they get the most favorable calls
Interesting.
every time.
Wow.
Okay. Last game of the week. So we don't agree there.
You said a funny line on the text the other night. You said, no lip, just fucked me. That one ref with no top lip. I call him lipless. You call him no lip. It was great.
I know.
I laughed so hard.
Now, that said, he calls a pretty tight game. Aikman said that about him. I agree. He actually, compared to a lot of the crews in the league, he actually usually has it together. I just don't have good luck with him.
Right. Right.
I never look at him and his crew and say that, what are these fucking guys doing? Like I do with several of the other guys. Including Black Glasses.
Black Glasses is the sickest guy. That guy's the sickest. Black Glasses is sick. I mean, he makes some fucking calls. It's insane.
What he did to me in the Hamptons. I mean, it's
oh my God. Black Glass. So great. We go lipless, no lip, and Black Glasses. We all know who everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Also, Hockley's son with the big arms, the biceps. Guy's a monster.
Yeah. He's very good.
We got one more game here. How did they not flex this game out of Monday night? I guess. Well, why is this game Monday night?
Since he's great to watch, Dallas is always like they have drama.
I guess. People like to watch Dallas. They like to watch either the car crash or
yeah, exactly. Anyway,
what's it? 5.5
opinion on this. I don't know if you do. I mean,
is it 5.5?
Quick 5.5. Like. I don't know what we're getting out of Dallas.
I like Dallas. I mean, I think it's too many points. Who the hell is Cincy to be laying 5.5 points to anybody? They never win a game. The defense is horrible. They're going to score a lot of points. Dallas is going to keep up with them. And in the end, is it 5.5 points? They're not going to cover that.
You think they're going to keep up with them? I mean,
Dallas with CeeDee Lamb.
Well, he didn't practice today, by the way. He's questionable.
Jack, any offense can keep up with Cincinnati against that defense. That defense is horrible.
I know. But they're going to put up 35.
I like Dallas in the over. I think it's going to be a shootout game, and 5.5 is going to get there. Dallas might win.
Yeah. I don't have an opinion. I mean, I just think Cincinnati's going to score a lot. They can't stop anyone, and I have no idea.
They can't stop anyone, and how could they have any motivation to play? This season's over. Dallas needs the game.
Do you and by the way, I think like Cleveland should be motivated by what they saw Cincy do to your defense. In that game, were you surprised that you gave up?
Maybe. I mean, listen, Cincy's really elite offensively. I mean, I know Reed hates that word when I use it, elite, but listen, they could score on anybody. And you know what? Some of those points were scored like kind of at the end when the game was in hand. I mean, let's face it, so the defense is playing like that prevent shit. But Joe Burrow is going to carve that up. They could score quick against anybody. Dallas' defense is not great either, but I think it'd be high scoring. And Cincinnati has to prove it to me that they could stop someone on defense. Other than Hendrickson, they have no players. The defense is nothing.
Yep. Okay.
And Micah Parsons is still on Dallas last time I checked, and Diggs, and they have some players. And maybe CeeDee Lamb has a big game against that poor secondary for once.
Yeah. I don't know what Cincy has to play for. I don't know what their playoff make percentage at this point.
I mean, Joe Burrow is setting records with this season. The guy's putting up 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns every week, and he's losing games. It's like at a historic rate. I mean, no one's ever done it the way he's doing it. So, I mean, this guy's going to keep his job. They're not firing Zach Taylor. They got to fix the defense.
Yeah. Need a new DC.
They need a defensive coordinator is what they need.
Right. Another opportunity for Vrabel.
And I hope they don't get it because, I mean, we're in their division. We don't want Cincinnati to be good. They've already been to a Super Bowl with fucking Burrow early. Like, if this guy gets a defense behind him with that offense and they keep Higgins, they're going to be dangerous to deal with next year, dude. Cincinnati. Really dangerous.
Mike Vrabel is like the most wanted man in the NFL and in college right now.
It's pretty sick.
And in the state of Ohio.
I heard a weird thing on Michael Cade on the way home that Belichick's interviewing for the North Carolina job. Is that true? Why would he want that job?
Football?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Why would he want that job? A college job?
Who knows?
He's that bored?
Well, he's done everything, so it's like you never know what is.
How could there not be an NFL job for him? Why doesn't he go run the defense for the Bengals?
Well, he may not have any interest in being in the NFL anymore if he's interested in a college,
But I thought he was trying to chase Shula's record. I don't understand why wouldn't he want to be in the NFL as a head coach? Isn't he trying to get the all-time record?
I don't know.
It's weird. I don't get it. But I'll tell you this, I would not take a college job. I mean, he's 80 years old, isn't he?
No.
How old is he?
He's not even 70.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. If I was him, I would take an NFL job only. And in the right situation, with a guy like Joe Burrow at quarterback, I might take the defensive coordinator job at Cincinnati and try and win a Super Bowl.
I think he's on. It's interesting you say. Well, I don't know if that's a rumor or any truth to it. If he's actually interviewing for that North Carolina job, but
it was on. I mean, Michael Kay brought it up on the radio. I don't think it would be a false report.
You just don't know what's motivating him and people.
Yeah, maybe he's just bored. He wants to be back in coaching, and no one's giving him an opportunity. I don't know.
He should go for the Ohio State job. Not that it's available, but
what about the Raider job? What about the Bears job?
We didn't talk about the Ohio State Michigan game last week.
Oh God, what a win for Michigan! My God,
it's tough for us Buckeye fans. But I'll say this about that loss and just that game in general, and that with the new 12-team playoff, that Ohio State fans and Michigan fans, and it's not going to be true for probably another, 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
But the truth is that game should become less important than it has always been up until this point.
Hopefully it won't.
And that's like a motivating, sort of positive thing to come out of like losing to Michigan or losing to Ohio State if you're a Michigan fan, is that it's no longer the end of your season. And I know it's very important to beat them, but knowing that if you have a great season and you have one loss, or, in our case, we have a loss to the number one team and Michigan, to still get into that playoff, you could still win the national championship, that it's kind of like,
you're still alive.
Keep your eye on the bigger prize. And
well, look at Alabama. Alabama has 3 losses. They get killed by Oklahoma and they put them in anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, I know Miami lost to Syracuse and the Miami's defense sucks. It's like, I get it. I mean, Alabama's got to be better than Miami, but still, I mean, they would have a gripe. They only have 2 losses.
Well, it's not a done deal yet. They're not in.
I thought they were in.
No. They are maybe as of now, but this weekend's very important. There's so many like conference championship games, and especially the SMU Clemson game.
Yeah.
For the SEC is very
fucking Clemson. Did you hear Fran Brown, how he did a shout out to Dabo Swinney after we beat Miami?
No, did he?
He gave him a shout out. He's like, I got you, Dabo. Because basically they backdoored in. But SMU's been the best team in our conference. How about the win? How about McCord, Syracuse coming back from 21-0? I mean, that's a historic win for our school. 9-3. It's the exact record I said we would be. I predicted it cold the beginning of the year. I said 9-3 team. And I did not expect the Stanford loss. That's the one I didn't expect. But you know what? It's a great season for us. I don't know what McCord's future is. Is he going to the NFL? Is he going to another school? What's the story with him?
No, I think he's a junior, right?
He's eligible to come back?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope he comes back. It'd be great.
Yeah, I think he'll be a senior next year.
Syracuse football, dude.
An NFL quarterback remains to be seen. I think he threw a lot of interceptions this year.
Do you know we had 300 4- and 5-star recruits in the stands for that game?
Wow.
Fran Brown, 300. Syracuse football is coming back, dude.
Yeah, that was so great to win that game. That's so good for recruiting.
I wanted to be in that dome so bad. And I had a money line parlay, Syracuse in the over. I hit for size. In Megabucks, I went from 9,000 to 66,000 last weekend.
Holy shit.
I fucking made a real move, dude. I'm back.
Good for you.
The Python is back. I'm in fucking 10th place.
All right, everyone. Thanks for.
I love Megabucks. Guys, anyone who's not in Megabucks is a fool. You guys are losing money at FanDuel and DraftKings and whatever. You're getting killed, okay? Just set your limit. It's 500 for the year. Jump in the league. There's 25 grand in there. You get 70% at the end if you're good. It's a lot of money. You'll never make that in FanDuel the rest of your life.
I totally agree. I mean, let's plug wannamakabet.com really.
100%. It's the best.
Before we sign off.
Yep.
Why is wannamakabet.com the best site on the internet?
I call it healthy gambling. I think that your downside for the whole season is only $500, your entry fee. So you have as much fun as ups and downs. You get 3 chances with the injections of units. Even if you go out and you blow up your account, you're back alive in week 8. You're back alive before the playoffs. I mean, you have opportunities to, you have 3 chances here, and you're playing against people a lot of times that you don't have to bet. You could bet whatever you want, teasers, parlays, reverses, or you don't bet at all. And you can sit there. It's the best thing that's ever happened to gambling. We should have 100 people in Megabucks New York next year. 100.
Yeah. Look, it's for those of you who have never played before, you're betting a bankroll of units instead of real money.
Correct.
And you're buying those units, and it's basically capping your downside risk. So anybody who's ever bet real money knows how it ends, and it doesn't end well. And this is just really the best way to enjoy actual sports betting while capping that downside risk. So
sometimes it ends with a freaking pig bookie with no underwear and sweatpants in your apartment eating pastrami.
I think those days are long gone, buddy. Those days are long gone. Now it's all legalized. Sports betting. But I have to say, I didn't tell you this, but I told Brad that I have a lot of crypto.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're flying right now.
So what I did was I opened up I won't name the book, but all these offshore books, the traditional biggest books, the market makers.
They take crypto?
They all take Bitcoin now.
Oh.
So what I did was instead of taking the money down, which is basically triggers an income event.
You did a 1035 exchange into an offshore bookie account.
That's right. I made a deposit.
Yeah.
I took $1,000 down of Bitcoin. I put it into, one of the big name offshore books.
Yeah.
And, that $1,000 was 200 like 8 months ago or 10 months ago. You know what I mean? So it's a great way to, I wouldn't say wash it, but at least get it out without having a tax event.
Diversify.
Right. Put it into an offshore book. Now I have a balance and I can try to run that up. And if I ever want to cash out, I cash out in Bitcoin.
The only risk with the offshore book is, one day you wake up and it's gone.
No. Okay. You're right. But the place where I put it, like there's a handful of names who have been around.
World Sports Exchange
for 30 years. Places like Pinnacle, Bet Online, like they're bigger than FanDuel and DraftKings.
We're bigger than US Steel.
You know what
Remember
I mean?
that? The Godfather.
There's really but you're right. They're not regulated and taxed.
Right.
So, but are they going to fold up shop? 99.9% no.
Well, listen, good luck to you. Don't lose it all on parlays. I know you're hot in parlays. Don't fall in love with them. Keep your betting amount low. And let's try and go 5-0 this week. I don't even know if we have 5 games, but I think
now, let's recap it. According to this, we have Tennessee, Miami, and Buffalo.
Yep.
It looks
Chicago.
Maybe Chicago.
Yep.
I see that there.
Maybe the Bills.
Yeah, and then maybe look, we seemed far apart on tonight's game on the Atlanta.
Oh yeah, you like Detroit. I love Green Bay in this game.
I could maybe come with you on Pittsburgh, believe it or not.
Listen, if I'm right, if that's a low-scoring game, we're gonna
maybe you could come to my side on Seattle. On Arizona.
Possible.
It looks like you're not budging on the Chiefs either.
I love the Chargers. I already bet them on the money line and plus the 3.5. All right, guys. Good luck with your selections. We'll see you next week.
Good luck, everyone. Thanks for showing up.
All right, Jack. See you, buddy.
See you, bud.
Bye. All right, about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, good show.
A little long, but not bad.